lot of y'all have been asking me the exact same question. When will XRP pump? Well, specifically, what's happening right now is that Ripple and the SEC are basically coming together to discuss what exactly the fine is going to be for Ripple's wrongdoings. After that, the SEC will probably appeal whatever decision the judge made with regards to Ripple's fault, meaning XRP is not a security and that cannot change. But the SEC will most likely come back on where exactly Ripple was at fault for selling XRP. Then again, these lawyers have commented that it's not going to happen straight away. It will take another couple of months, if not even years, as again in a specific case before, the library case, it took 8 months to get to the 23 million fine situation. So they started at 23 million in fines for library, ended up with 130,000 in fines, probably here. Right? They basically are asking for 770 million at the start or whatever, and they're going to end up at another number. And so it's going to be a lot of back and forward. It's not just one lawyer saying this. I, of course, took a look at all these different lawyers to see their opinions, and 𝗕𝗓𝗃𝗀𝗃 states the exact same thing. The case is officially over. We're just looking at what the fines are going to be, and that's what the next hearings are going to be about. So I guess good news is you're going to be seeing more updates from me with regards to the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit. Another piece of good news, I guess, is that it's going to be about things that can't really mess you up anymore because XRP is not a security, and that's all that mattered. The bad news is you're going to be seeing more of me. No, in reality, there's actually so much more to it than I originally expected. I mean, even if you win, like Ripple did here, there's a lot that happens in the background. There's a lot that happens afterwards that I was not fully aware of. But please understand, you don't need to know too much about this to be able to make profit on your XRP or your crypto investment. This is just a little side note for the people that are heavily invested into XRP that want to know what's next. They want to know what might do something about the price, that might change something, or they just want to understand the direction that things are going. This is not too important if you're a long-term holder and don't care too much about the innards, because they're going into probability of how big the odds are that the SEC is going to win on appeal, which apparently is not that big. And the most interesting part about this whole debacle here is that, first of all, the SEC winning is very freaking small of a chance. But even if this goes towards appeal, the problem is that the SEC would want something that would have to go via the trial to quote unquote get changed. That's basically what 𝗕𝗓𝗃𝗀𝗃 says in this part. As to other distributions of XRP, you can see that the judge did not make findings as to the second or third prongs of 𝗬𝗓𝗪, and only the trial judge can do that. And a little bit further, same thing with programmatic sales. If the appellate court agrees with the SEC, it would still have to send that issue back down to the trial court for further determinations, which would mean that this would take an extremely long time to still finish. So the SEC has to, 1, not settle, 2, win on appeal, which has a small chance, 3, get through more hearings, 4, win on another appeal, or something like that. And that's not even taking into account a possible act of Congress, a change of political regime, or something else that I can't even think of. So that's why I say that for all intents and purposes, the case is now over. Unlike on TV, a lot of legal cases end with a whimper and drag on for a year after the main issues have been locked in. And I think that's what we'll be seeing here. He says the chances of the SEC winning are about 2% in the grand scheme of things, and that this could definitely lead on into like 2026 before they do, even at that. So again, if you're wondering about the next big update, most likely nothing crazy will be coming out. 𝗕𝗓𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀 thinks for at least another year or something like that, which the final judgment would be when the fines are known and everything is officially done. This just means we are done with the most important parts. It's just about fine picking these things, and then of course appeals, etc. can happen, but we'll see about that shortly. Trust me when I say that there's been a lot of back and forward. A lot of people are now speculating that Ripple has got some very big trump cards. For example, I guess along the lines of, hey, we've got a lot of information from you now, SEC. You want to take this further? We can, but you don't want to since you just basically surrendered. So we're not going to agree with your fines at all. If you want to fight this out, let's do it. kind of with the idea that the SEC doesn't want to get too deep because then they'd have to expose more information. Now, how true that is, you can decide for yourself. At the end of the day, guys, this is a lawyer game. We don't fully know. Linda P. Jones seems to think they've got a royal flush in all this. At the end of the day, we do know the SEC does not like to get their secrets exposed. Talking about secrets exposing, this was interesting. US SEC and Ripple gear up for November 9th. Showdown in pivotal XRP lawsuit. The SEC and Ripple are set for a critical meeting and confer session on November 9th to discuss potential remedies concerning Ripple's alleged Section 5 violations. Took me a while to actually locate the exact letter here where it's mentioned, but indeed in this letter it says, "Dear Judge, the SEC respectfully notifies the court that they're dismissing the pending claims against yada yada yada, and that the SEC and Ripple intend to meet and confer, and respectfully request until November 9th to propose such a schedule to the court." And so in theory, they are not going to be meeting on November 9th. They could have actually already met multiple times. It just says here, a proper schedule will be delivered to the judge by November 9th, if not earlier, or be requested to the judge to plan in if the SEC and Ripple can't agree. Most of the time, these schedules, as far as we know, are just set to have certain deadlines to make the progression of the case more streamlined, because otherwise it's like, well, let's say one party wants to talk about this now, the other party says, let's do it in 2 months. But then that 2 months go by and the other party says, we can't make it, let's do it in 2 months. You drag on a case for another 6 years or so before you met 10 times, and to have set deadlines by the judge that you can't miss can sometimes be a little bit easier, but most importantly, just more streamlined. At the end of the day, man, I've been reading so much about how Elon is fighting the SEC. I posted not too long ago, I think yesterday, what Elon said about the SEC, the fact he doesn't respect them. And I've got more clips where Elon says, for example, that they made him admit something he didn't want to because he being held in a chokehold. I've just read this as well. Binance US now has an unexpected ally in their fight against the SEC. And it's so interesting. Here's the US Chamber of Digital Commerce that's arguing once more against the SEC. It's interesting how it seems like everybody's coming together against this agency, yet it still stands and nothing is happening. I really wonder how the Coinbase lawsuit against the SEC is going to play out over time, purely on the basis that these guys have been just swinging their dicks around like there's no tomorrow, at a freaking full-on swinger party, and nobody decided to bust in the door yet. I guess some people just like watching, I guess. That's kind of what's been happening here. I guess a lot of secrets would have probably come out had the SEC been even more stringent, more opposed to a Bitcoin spot ETF. Here's a funny article. We asked ChatGPT if Bitcoin's price will hit 100K. In the case, the SEC approves a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, I explained in my previous video what I think about Bitcoin spot ETFs and the price movement, but it's kind of funny. I think the SEC really is trying to bully crypto, but then when BlackRock came in hot, they're like, okay, we're gonna try. And then BlackRock slapped him with a letter, and they're like, you know what, let's just extend these things but not go full monkey mode anymore, because we're playing against bigger guys than ourselves in here. Where with crypto, it's like all these companies are so small, so beginner stage, just holding up themselves, and BlackRock, you can try, but at the end of the day, they control so much more than the SEC does. So it's usually not smart to play with higher powers. That's probably where Gary Gensler also drew the line. He's like, who? I'm up against who? Just thinking about it. Let's say you've been denying all these letters because people have been applying for a Bitcoin spot ETF for years. You can't be, now that BlackRock comes in, approving only their ETF day one. That would be a little bit too sketchy. So you're going to be like, who just filed a letter? No, because you're like, all of a sudden you can't be playing the games no more. You can't be denying it for stupid reasons. But now you got to think of legitimate reasons why they can't have it, because that's what you've been saying to others too, but you can't think of one. So you're just putting everything up a little bit further into the future. So, you keep everything vague and delayed, and then just have to prove everything all of a sudden because a player too big entered your space. I want to quickly remind you guys again, though, that we don't only cover conspiracy theories. We don't only cover the SEC's wrongdoings. It's a big part of crypto because I'd say the regulations in the US are very freaking important for the way that crypto is going to move this run. I think most importantly, how the run is going to end next time is going to be decided by regulations. And I will be sharing more insights into what exact crypto I'll be buying as we get closer towards that time where we're buying. Right now, I'd say if you want to get some cryptos to buy, my non-financial advisor, educated opinion is to just go for main cryptos right now. Your cryptos in the top at the top. And to not deviate too much, because these are your most certain picks for the highest probability of success. So that does not mean most gains. It means these will most likely do well and bring you amazing results. But the most important part there being they'll most likely do well. And these are coins like your XRP, your Chainlink, your coins at the top at the top. We're not talking about a coin in the 200th position. We're talking about coins in the top 50. But as we get more deep into a bull run, it might sound a little bit strange to some, but I'm going to teach so many people how to make millions of dollars because for some reason, we have found a glitch in the matrix, a little hack in the system almost, where I've been here for a decade. I've understood there's a little thing in the crypto space that keeps repeating itself time and time again. Once you're in it, you get kind of caught up in it. But if you're out of it, looking into it, it's so simple. There's a little saying, people in crypto use this all the time, that you need 3 bull runs to make it to your goal net worth or whatever. And I kind of agree with this if you're in it. That means if you're only in it, you don't take this knowledge from outside sources. The first one is just to kind of experience what it's like to get massive amounts of gains and then lose it all. The second one, you understand this game, but you don't fully believe that this time it's going to happen. And then the third, you've witnessed so much, you understand everything, now you're going to make it big. But that's a long time. That's going to take another decade. If we want to, make that process a little bit quicker, the simplest thing I can say is just listen. This is not financial advice, but my personal thoughts to people who have been through a lot of this before. We understand a couple of core principles about investing, but specifically about investing into high risk asset classes that are pivotal to succeeding in this space. And I'd say if I had to pick one thing that is my expertise in the entirety of crypto, it's investing into high risk things. Please understand that the YouTube videos I make here are only a very small part of something that's much broader in the investing landscape. And that I don't want to sound braggy, but that I really am a lot more honest than most people you see on this YouTube talking about their cryptos. If we've got a sponsor, I tell you we've got a sponsor. If I invested in a project, I tell you I invested in a project because I personally think that's the best way to go about it. The point here being though, I just don't talk about these cryptos because, it's just a little bit something or some crazy reason I can't even think of right now. I talk about these things because I think they're good to be discussed. With the SEC, it's partially to expose the crazy corruption going on there, but also because there's possibly crazy amounts of money to be made. With XRP or whatever crypto you can name right there, it's because there's probably crazy amount of gains to be made, or because it's revolutionizing technology, and we're noticing that earlier with these crazy altcoins and with things like this, is because I've invested into so many projects. I have seen so many pitch decks. I've spoken to so many founders. I understand this crypto space from such a deep level. I think some of you guys will resonate with this a lot, but if you do something every day, day in, day out, for years on end, in this case here it's investing, you watch them every single day and it's your main occupation for a decade, you start to get kind of good at picking what's absolute dog tier garbage and what has some potential. Now, the potential is still a very big spectrum because no investor is perfect, but at least you can make a good distinction now. But the most important part is that you understand there are cycles to this, and you understand that if you think you know it all, you're going to get wrecked. But one thing remains a certainty, which is that what comes up must go down. That's the most important rule to understand. It's so incredibly easy to make money in a bull run. The hard part is keeping that money once things fall down. And all that I'm going to be updating you guys on my channel, which is why I always say, you don't really have to subscribe for me. You're mostly subscribing because hopefully I've got some value that you want to see as soon as it pops up. But really, the subscriber number, it doesn't matter to me. It's about the bond that I'm creating with the people that watch it. So hopefully you are learning something new every single day, or you're enjoying what I'm making here. I read every single comment. I appreciate every single person that takes those 3 seconds to go with their little finger to press that like button. It's not about the number of likes. It doesn't matter. Oh, it's good for YouTube analytics. It is, but it doesn't matter. It's about the fact that people genuinely appreciate what you've put out, to put the effort in to press the button. Hopefully it makes sense to you, because I wouldn't make this video if I didn't think it was genuinely helpful to people. Just understand that there's a lot more passion in these videos than might meet the eye. Some people say, hey, you've got nothing to talk about, so you put up a price prediction. I really don't have to make a video just for the sake of making a video. I've told you this countless times, but videos don't earn money. For a big YouTuber, it does, but this is peanuts. It's the value that counts for me. So if I make a video about a price prediction, it's because I either think it's very helpful to people to talk about a price prediction right now, or it's been just requested. People want to understand, why am I buying this? Why should I be buying this? How much should I be buying? What should I expect? And so that's what needs to be talked about more. I even think it could be something to only do price predictions and price talks, because the majority of people, they only care about price. If you're watching this far into the video, you're a special type of human being that understands there's more to just, what's price? I try to explain to people that there's more to it than just price, but a lot of people don't want to hear it. They don't want to understand crypto in a deeper way. They don't want to understand investing principles. They just want to hear price. So once more, if you're watching this far into the video, you're a special human being. Trust me when I say that 99% of the people in the world wouldn't be able to do it, wouldn't be able to bear this information, wouldn't understand what you're understanding already. So you're very special. Realize that for a second, please do. If you ever feel uncertain about your crypto journey, just know I'm going to do everything in my power to coach you guys through it, because honestly, it can really be that simple. That's about it.